You know, in a world with what feels like an endless fire hose of information, it is so easy to feel like you're either drowning in data or you're missing out entirely. We hear it all the time, the importance of being informed. But what does that actually mean?
Seriously, think about it. Is it about acing trivia night, or is there something deeper going on? That question, right there, is really at the heart of what we're digging into today. We're going to go on a little journey from just knowing random facts to the powerful skill of genuine understanding.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll pin down what general awareness even is. Then we'll explore its absolutely massive universe. After that, we'll zoom in on current affairs, grab a few tools for our Thinker's Toolkit, and finally build that bridge from simply knowing stuff to truly understanding it.
All right, let's dive right in with Section 1. What is general awareness? I mean, this is the very foundation of how we make sense of the world, right?
Okay, so here's the formal definition researchers use. Now, the interesting part here isn't the fancy language, it's that little phrase, non-specialist media. That tells you everything. We're not talking about knowledge that requires a PhD or years of specialized training. We're talking about the shared pool of information that's accessible to, well, all of us.
And this isn't just about collecting random facts for fun. General awareness is a core part of what's called crystallized intelligence. That's basically the library of knowledge you build up over your entire life. It's all stored in your long-term semantic memory. Think of it like your brain's own personal Wikipedia. But here's where it gets really cool. It's strongly linked to a personality trait called openness to experience. And that makes total sense, right? Curious people explore, and that exploration builds knowledge. It also means a curious mind doesn't just stay in one lane. That knowledge tends to spill over into all sorts of different areas.
So, just how big are we talking here? How big is this universe of knowledge? Well, in Section 2, we're going to try and wrap our heads around its immense scope. So how in the world do you organize this massive, sprawling universe of information? Well, believe it or not, researchers have actually managed to boil it down to 6 core factors, 6 major domains that pretty much form the pillars of our general knowledge.
And here they are. Everything from current affairs to arts and science. But look, the most important takeaway from this slide isn't just the categories themselves, it's how they're all connected. These factors are highly intercorrelated. That's a fancy way of saying that being knowledgeable in one area makes it way more likely you'll be knowledgeable in others. It kind of paints a picture of a well-rounded, curious mind, doesn't it?
But hold on, because even those 6 categories are just the starting point. The true scope is just massive. It covers literally everything from A to Z.
I mean, it stretches from the details of ancient history and the logistics of railways, all the way to the latest records in sports and the news breakthroughs in science.
It includes the deep structure of our government and financial systems, and at the same time, the classic novels and new authors that shape our entire culture.
And yeah, it even covers everything from understanding common diseases and the inventions that change the world to knowing the major international organizations that are shaping it right now. The point is, general awareness pretty much touches every single part of our lives.
Okay, that is a lot. So let's narrow our focus a bit to something more immediate. That brings us to Section 3, keeping up with current affairs. This is all about understanding the world as it's happening, right now. Now, this is a really important distinction to make. Current affairs is not the same as the daily news headlines you scroll past. Regular news tells you what happened and when. It's all about speed. But current affairs? That goes deeper. It focuses on the why and the how. It offers that detailed analysis and discussion, especially around those really complex political or public policy issues.
So, knowing what's going on is one thing, but actually making sense of it all? That requires a totally different set of skills. And that brings us to Section 4, the Thinker's Toolkit, and the incredible power of logical reasoning.
At its very core, logical reasoning is all about asking this one simple but incredibly powerful question. It's the process of using what you already know to make valid connections, to figure out what else just has to be true based on the facts in front of you.
And this slide breaks it down perfectly. There are really 2 fundamental ways we reason. First, you've got deduction. Let's call this the Sherlock. This is where the conclusion is an absolute guarantee. If your starting points are true, the conclusion must be true. No way around it. Then you have induction, or the forecaster. This one is all about probability. Based on past patterns, we make a really solid, educated guess about the future. It's not 100% certainty, but it's an incredibly useful tool for navigating the world.
So here we are. We've got the raw material. That's our general awareness. And we've got the processing power of logic. Now let's put them together in our final section, moving from just knowing to truly understanding by building the bridge to critical thinking.
Now listen, while logic is absolutely crucial, it's a main pillar, it's really important to remember that it's not the whole story. To build the entire structure of a critical thinker, we're going to need a few more tools in our belt.
And here are the other big ones. Real critical thinking also requires empathy, that amazing ability to step into someone else's shoes and see an issue from a completely new angle. It also involves analogy, which is all about spotting patterns across different situations to help us make better decisions. And finally, it demands creativity, that little spark that lets us take old ideas, mash them together in new ways, and solve the problems of today and tomorrow.
Which, brings us right back to our big question from the beginning. Being well-informed isn't just about the number of facts you can recall. It's about the framework you use to connect them, to question them, and to create something new with them. So I'll just leave you with this to chew on. Is true knowledge really what you know, or is it how you think?